How do you write a value statement for your pitch deck? Let's find out. All right, welcome to the Value Statement Framework video. Now, if you watched the previous videos, you probably have a foundation on the archetypes, on the brand dimensions, on the differentiators, and the need to use a value statement in your presentations as well. And you also learned the difference between value statements and purpose statements. So just as a quick reminder here, value statements are short statements suitable for marketing and sales communication, and the purpose statements are like your mission, vision, and purpose and core values, and these are longer statements suitable for planning and implementation strategy. So really on your pitch deck, the value statements would usually go on the cover, and the purpose statements would be additional slides that you would add to your presentation that have longer statements. Now, whether you decide to write them yourself, and I'm going to be showing you now the framework of how you can do that and how you can tell if you have a good value and purpose statements over the next few videos. We're going to be covering them all, or even if you plan to use artificial intelligence AI tools to help you create these value statements, if you know the foundation and you already have your differentiators, you've got your brand archetype and the foundation, you'll be able to put better prompts into the AI to come up with better statements. And of course, remember that if you're using AI or you're using outsourcing, you want to make sure that your value statements are not identical to somebody else's. So even if you're relying on other tools, as the business owner, as the leader, you need to make sure that your statements are unique and they don't infringe on any copyrights. So you still have to do a little bit of digging around, even if you are using AI and other tools. So let's dive a little bit deeper, and I'm going to show you some different frameworks that you can use to come up with your value statements. So our goal here is to come up with that value statement for the cover, because if you remember, we're still working on the cover section, and the cover is one of the most important slides because it does tell your audience why they should listen to you. They are trying to decide, do I want to listen, yes or no, or maybe. So we need to make sure that every word on our presentation counts. And so a typical value statement really needs to answer one or more of the following questions. So the question is what do you have to offer? The idea, what is the idea? What's the product or service? Who can benefit from this offer? And how will you deliver this offer? And why choose your offer? So you can see here, there's a lot of questions that can be answered on the cover slide if you come up with a really good value statement. So in the previous videos, you learned about the brand dimensions, the archetypes, and the differentiators. So just as a quick reminder, the brand dimensions is how do you want others to describe you? The brand archetype is what type of story are you presenting here? What kind of character are you playing in the story? More specifically, in the story of your customers and clients, how do you fit into their story as well? And differentiators really are the words that describe what makes you different and better. So now you have the foundation, and it's time to present them all into the framework. So let's take a look at different frameworks, and different frameworks can fit into different stories. So I'm going to show you some of the most common ones, and then you can experiment with them and see which one can work best for you. So let's start with the what, how, why formula, which is developed by Dave McClure. Now, Dave is an entrepreneurial and angel investor from San Francisco, so he gets to see a lot of pitch decks as well. So this framework works well for specific product or company. Now, you can look at it. You can see here, what is the product name? So the product name. How is the value, how it's done, and why is the desired result. So when we're reading this statement of this particular value statement, it says Mint.com is the free, easy way to manage your money online. So in one statement, we know what the company does. It helps manage your money online. And what makes it unique is that it's free and it's easy. And the value, so the value here are the differentiators would be the price and ease of use. So if you're trying to see what is that's different, is the price is attractive and because it's easy to use. So if we plot that on a pitch deck, now you can see how you might plot that. You've got the image, you've got the logo, the Mint, you've got the description, information. It's a budget tracker and planner, so that would be the title. And now the value statement, the free and easy way to manage your money online. So this is where you can start experimenting, changing that meaning to make it fit into your pitch deck. Now, another common formula is the Steve Blank's XYZ statement. Now, Steve Blank is also an entrepreneur. He's an author and educator. And his formula is we help X do Y by doing Z. So let's read this kind of example here. We help new startups book more investor meetings by creating compelling pitch decks. So you can see here, if we take a closer look, the X is really answering the question of who, new startups. The Y is answering the what. So we're still answering the same questions, what. And then the last part is creating compelling pitch deck is the how it's done. So you can see here, we're still answering the same questions, but they could be in a different order depending on the formula. So this is how this might look on a pitch deck. You can put the logo, you can put the pitch deck experts, and then you put the value statement. It is a bit longer, but it still can fit in here on the cover slide. And now if you wanted to, if you find it's too long and you want to move it and make it your mission statement, you can easily do that. You can see now we can keep the cover clean. We can just say the pitch deck experts, and you can put a slide on the inside, and you can say our mission is to help you startups book more investor meetings by creating compelling pitch decks. Now we're going to be talking more about mission statements in the upcoming videos, but I just wanted to show you that it is flexible here. There's no wrong or right way. It just depends on the context of your presentation. But ideally, whenever you can, try to make the cover speak for itself before you add additional slides. Now, here's another formula called the VAD approach. Now, I believe this framework is from someone called Guy Kiyosaki. Guy Kiyosaki is also an investor as well, and he is also based out of Silicon Valley. So most of the pitch deck CCs are also more on technology. So this is the framework that he came up with. And you can see here, we've got the verb, the application, and differentiator. So now you remember why we used the differentiator words before. So the verb is make voice over IP calls easily and cheaply. So you can see here, once again, we're answering the same questions. We're asking what? Well, they're going to make voice over IP calls. How? They're going to be making a call. How? Voice over IP. So it's not just a regular call. It's voice over the internet call. And why? Well, because it's easily and cheaply. So this would be the differentiator. So now if you're plotting that up on a cover slide, it would look something like this. You can put the name of the company, telecom. This is just simulated, next generation telephony solutions, and then the value statement would go right below that as a subtitle. Now, another popular formula is the jobs to be done from Clay Christensen. What job does your audience need to do, and how does your product or service help them? So in this particular example, file your taxes with confidence. So you've got the action, you've got the object of the action, and you've got the contextual identifier. Now, if you take another closer look at it, you notice that we are still answering the same questions. We're still answering what, for whom, and why. So it's exactly the same answers. What do you have to offer? Who can benefit from this offer? And how do you deliver this value? And why choose your solution? So in this case, the action is your file. For whom? For people who want to file their taxes. So your taxes, it's people who need to file their taxes. And the identifier, the one that is the differentiator, is with confidence. So this is the differentiator here. So once again, if you wanted to plot this on a cover of a pitch deck, or whether it's on your website as well, you would have the logo, professional accounting and tax filing services, file your taxes with confidence. Now, of course, this is just an example because you have to make sure that if you are using these differentiators and you plan to trademark them, you have to check that no other company is using the same differentiator or the same value statement as well. So that's where AI can help you, but at the same time, you still need to do a bit of digging, especially if you want to expand and you want to trademark your content. If you're still small and you're starting out, you still have more flexibility. So that's the advantage of being a small company, whereas as you grow, you're more accountable and more liable. So you have to do a little bit more digging as well. So now what about you? When you come up with your value statements, you need to answer the same questions. What do you have to offer? What's your idea, product, or service? Who can benefit from your offers? How do you deliver this offer? And why choose your offers? So if you're not sure, use the list that we started with earlier. Remember that differentiator list we looked at in the previous videos. Go through the list again and try to pick these words, because these are the words that are going to come up handy, whether you're working on your competitive advantage, your value statements, your purpose statements. These are the words that would be the foundation. And of course, the brand personality and the brand archetype that you pick to convey that message will also come in handy. So now the value statement tips I have here for you is move fast, because I know a lot of clients, they get stuck on this process. Some clients for months trying to come up with the value statement. Just don't get stuck. Write whatever thing that comes to mind. You can always change your mind later. It's not like you're registering a trademark right now. Just use something that's usable so that you can start using your pitch deck. And as you get feedback, you can always update that process. It's not final. You can experiment and ask for feedback. And anytime you're in doubt, always go for clarity over creativity. It doesn't need to be catchy, even if it's a longer statement. As long as it's clear and your audience understands what's in it for them, then you know that you have something that is usable for now. So here's a before and after example. Actually, I wanted to show you this example so that you can see the importance of having clarity over creativity. So this is a pitch deck cover slide for a company here in Vancouver called BioCoal Energy. Now, this is the slide that the company has been using for years. So they've been using it and they're getting good, good audiences with it, even though the value statement is very vague. Now, unless you already know what BioCoal means, this cover does not convey the benefit to the end user. So first we've got the logo. It's busy and taking up most of the slide. Then the value statement is vague, a global product for a global solution. Now, I mean, that statement can really apply to so many different things. What is a global product? It doesn't really add much value. It does not convey the uniqueness or the value of the company. Even with the confusing title, they were able to get some validation and interesting results. So the reason I'm showing you this example, that even if you have something that's not final, you can still use it to get that action in the marketplace. Now, of course, after we worked together to revamp the message, we did come up with something better. So I was able to help them clean up the message, first of all, to show the main value. So you can see here, even the imaging, because it's more about protecting the environment as well. This is an environmental solution, so we wanted to use more of the greens. Now, the logo, we were not able to change, even though I wanted to change it, but for now we just had to keep it. But the main thing is we've got a title, by a global BioCoal Energy, so that's the name of the company. And now you can see the value statement. We use this real estate wisely to tell exactly what does this company do. So they turn forest residue into sustainable biofuel. So now we know what they do, because in the previous example, let me show you that again. Well, we don't know what they do. It just says biocoal. So is it that they just have the coal product, or what is so unique about it? Whereas when we look at the after, now you can see that we've got what exactly does this company do. It's actually taking the forest residue, which is the excess lumber, the excess wood that is left behind from deforestation. It's also left behind when trees die or they dry out. There's a lot of residue which can cause problems, and they're able to take this excess material and turn it into sustainable biofuel. So now you can see this cover tells a much better story, and now anybody who is interested in these solutions, they are more likely to go through this presentation and see what does this company have to offer. So this is a perfect example of the jobs to be done framework here. So you can see here, what do they do for whom? For industries that are, so when we look at it, turning forest residues into sustainable biofuels. So what do? They turn that for whom? For forest residue, any company or industry that deals with that excess wood. And what is the why? They turn it into sustainable biofuels. So you can see now how we can use these frameworks to come up with better value statements. So now you can see here the before and after. As you can see side by side, that the one on the right tells a much clearer story than the one before, which was very vague. It was probably more creative. It sounds a global product for a global solution, but it doesn't really mean anything. Whereas on the right, we know exactly what that company does. So now as you start working on your solutions, can you recall value statements aim to answer all or some of the following? Can you remember what are the questions you need to be answering with your value statement? Well, here they are again. What do you have to offer? Who can benefit from this offer? And how do you deliver this offer? And why choose this offer? So really your action item right now is to use the value statement frameworks and differentiator words to write your value statement. Now write as many as you can come up with, and then you can always ask for feedback. And whether you're doing it yourself or you're asking someone to help you, at least now you know the framework, so you can tell, is this a good value statement or not? And even if you're using AI, you can just prompt the AI and say, you know what, I want you to come up with a value statement based on this framework or based on this framework, and start gathering as many as you can, even if you get 10, 20 value statements. And then you can just do once you have that list, you can show it to different people and pick the one that makes the most sense. So now you know how they work, and in the next few videos we're going to be talking more about purpose statements and how you can use them. And I'll see you in the next video.